Woohoo, I did it. Okay, everybody, I'm here on Instagram Live. My name's Robin Yardy, and I'm going to do just a quick read aloud from Al's Outstanding Donuts every day this week and probably next week. I'm going to answer some questions if you all have any, and I'm going to do a show and tell. Now, the show and tell can be anything that I think is fun or interesting. Some of the things that I'm going to show will be things that I've checked out from the Natural History Museum. Some of the things that I'm going to show are things that I just have knocking around the house. Some of the things that I'm going to show and tell are things that I think will inspire kids and make them excited to get on Instagram. So today we're going to read the very first chapter of my middle grade mystery, Al's Outstanding Donuts. It's about this owl named Alfred who sees something suspicious happening at the side of the road. Today we're going to read the Strawberry Iced Classic, and one of my favorite things about this book is that every chapter begins with a different delicious donut description written by me and a cute little donut illustration done by Emily Harris. The cover was done by Kelsey King, and it's published by Lerner Books. So let's read the Strawberry Iced Classic. A sour cream cake donut with strawberry-infused pink icing and sprinkles. Ordinarily, Alfred wouldn't have let anything interrupt his midnight donut break, but something about that late August night was decidedly out of the ordinary, so Alfred stopped eating. He licked at the pink icing smeared across his beak and swiveled his head a full 270 degrees, taking in the scene from his favored roost in the scraggly redwood tree. The sea shushed against the shore below the bluff. That was nothing out of the ordinary. The antique sign for Owl's Outstanding Donuts, perched atop a pole next to Highway 1, had been dark since 9:59 p.m. Very ordinary. Molly Waters, the proprietor of the Big Sur donut shop, was extremely punctual. Alfred had watched her lock up, toss a bag of day-old donuts into the dumpster, his Strawberry Ice Classic among them, and walk the path to the shiny trailer she shared with her niece, all in the usual way. But the large white truck was back, parked across the highway. The same white truck Alfred had seen on 2 previous nights, and that, Alfred decided, was not ordinary at all. What on earth are they doing? Alfred thought, blinking his gold eyes. 2 shadowy figures hovered behind the truck's tailgate, fiddling with something. Knobs? A hose? Human doodads were confusing enough up close, never mind at such a distance. Then a sudden clank echoed up and down the road, followed by a steady, sloppy gurgling. The noise was almost certainly coming from the truck, or from near the truck, and with his delicious strawberry dumpster donut set aside, Alfred could detect an odor, something unpleasant, something that should not be dumped into a ditch near a pristine riverbed. Sloop, slop, glop. Alfred's wings twitched. The mystery truck's first visit to this particular bend in the road had barely made Alfred blink. During the second visit, Alfred had been too engrossed in that evening's donut to pay it any attention. But now Alfred was certain that whatever those shadowy figures were up to, whatever that sloopy goop was, something would need to be done. People can't just dump stinky slop into creeks and get away with it. Not in Big Sur, anyway. Abandoning the rest of the pink donut to grow hopelessly stale, he spread his smudged wings and swooped toward the silver Airstream travel trailer, tucked among a grove of cypress trees. A row of terracotta pots containing prickly cactuses dotted the roof, so he didn't relish landing there. But the window box nearest the little girl's bed made for a more opportune landing spot. She was only 9 or 10, and even Alfred was unsure of how much use she'd be. But she was a very light sleeper, which is a useful thing in the right moment, or in the wrong one. The pink peony curtains at the girl's window were shut tight, but Alfred knew how to remedy that. Tap, tap, tap. Alfred rapped his beak against her dusty window pane. And I love the cute little donuts that come in between Alfred's perspective and Maddie's perspective. Maddie was dreaming about her mother, Mom shaking her awake, Mom telling her to finish an endless breakfast, holding Maddie's hand and hurrying her. They were late, and Mom didn't notice that Maddie was still in pajamas. Maddie's eyes popped open. She wanted to close them again right away. Even late for school wearing your pajamas dreams were good, if they had her mom in them. Maddie tucked her nose under her down comforter and tried to fall back asleep. But something was at her window, tapping her awake and taking Mom away. Maddie flung her covers aside and crouched by the window, listening with one ear. Nothing. She snapped the pink curtains open and pressed her nose to the black glass. A face with huge golden eyes was peering through the petunias in the window box. Maddie screeched and tumbled backwards. The whole trailer shook as she bumped onto the braided rag rug below her bed. The golden eyes kept blinking through the dark window. Maddie's hazel green eyes blinked back. The owl, that's what Maddie thought it was, hooted a deep, owly scraped at the window with a curved talon, and spun its head toward the highway, once, twice, 3 times, like a broken toy, and for some reason, the feathers around the owl's beak were pink. Maddie scrambled back to her bed for a closer look, but by then the owl had disappeared. Trampled flowers in the window box were the only sign that the bird had been there at all. Maddie shoved the window open, squinting out into the dark, past the ferns outside their trailer, and across the empty parking lot sat Owl's Outstanding Donuts. Like everything else on the near side of the highway, Aunt Molly's shop was quiet and closed up. On the far side of the highway, a wall of redwood trees stood dark and still, the start of a forest that stretched for miles. Nothing weird there. The owl hooted again. It must have stayed near the trailer, but Maddie still couldn't see it. But from the corner of her bed, up on her knees, she could see a light flickering on the opposite side of the highway, the only lamppost before the road twisted off into the trees. And just beyond its glow, a truck had pulled off the shoulder. Maddie bit down on her bottom lip. That's maybe weird, she thought. If they were having car trouble, why didn't they just pull into the parking lot? A round, shadowy someone in a hooded sweatshirt was grappling with the end of what looked like a big floppy hose. Maddie noticed a taller someone, too, standing watch. Well, that's for sure suspicious, Maddie mumbled. Then one of Aunt Molly's terracotta pots flew off the top of the trailer like a cannonball. Maddie watched, its little pointy cactus spinning end over end until the pot smashed to bits on the wooden deck outside. The crash of clay made Maddie flinch, and the shadowy figures down the road heard it too. The taller one shoved the stubby one, looking left, right, and behind. They jogged round to the cab of the truck and dove inside, slamming the doors behind them. Maddie tried to read the license plate as the truck's engine revved, but it was too dark outside, and the truck was too far away for Maddie to see any numbers. The truck fishtailed in the gravel, pulled onto the road, and squealed out of sight, with its floppy hose trailing like a tail. Maddie squished her face against the window's bug screen, trying to peek at the top of the trailer. Did that owl push a flower pot, she wondered. Her heart kept flip-flopping against her mom's old t-shirt. Right then, Aunt Molly padded across the trailer floor in her blue bunny pajamas and bare feet, rubbing at her eyes. "What on earth," said Aunt Molly, "are you doing out of bed?" Now that's the end of the first chapter, and tomorrow's chapter is the banana slug bar. And I'll just read you the description of the donut because it's one of my favorite things. A yeasted donut filled with banana custard and covered with coconut-flavored yellow icing. So after I read this, my plan is to answer questions, and I'm looking at your questions and I see lots of waves. Those are so sweet. And I don't see a lot of questions, but I'm just going to answer the one that I get the most from kids to get the ball rolling. The question that I get the most from kids is, where do you get your ideas? And I have two answers to that today. Number one is, every idea is like this little magic snap. It's something I can feel in my fingertips and hear it in my brain, and all of a sudden I feel like, pop, here's this idea. And it usually comes when I'm thinking about something else. It usually comes when I'm doing something that I really like. And I, in my brain, will give my idea a name. I will say, oh, that is a funny idea. Or, oh, that is a cool idea. Or, ooh, that is a scary idea. And I've learned that whatever name I give my idea is something that I really have to believe. And so that's something that I would encourage everybody to start doing right away, is just when an idea pops into your head, start to believe it. And whatever name you gave it, and I think this is something we automatically do, whatever name that you give it is a true thing. Like, it really is funny. If you think it's funny, that makes it funny. If you think that it's sad, that means that it is a sad idea, and doesn't mean that it's not worth sharing. Now, the show and tell that I have for you today is something that I got from the Santa Barbara Natural History Museum. I checked it out from their nature collection for a school visit that I did a couple of weeks ago, and I got an email right before the Natural History Museum closed. They're closed to visitors now, and they said, "Can you bring it back?" And I didn't get the email in time, and so I have to keep these specimens safe until the museum opens again, and I'm going to show you one of my favorite specimens. This is a great horned owl skull. And the nature collection at the museum has things like this, like bones. They have whole animals that are taxidermied. They have beautiful geologic specimens and fossils. This is one of my favorite specimens because it's got a great horned owl skull mounted for kids to see. Now, if we go back to the beginning of my first chapter, the Strawberry Ice Classic, Alfred, who is a great horned owl, makes the perfect watchman, makes the perfect person, or owl, to see the crime occur at the beginning of the book because of something that real owls can do. Real owls can rotate their heads a full 270 degrees. Humans can turn their heads to the left and to the right about 180 degrees, but if you were an owl, you could turn your head 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 270 degrees without moving a talon, and I think that is so amazing. So one of my creativity tips for everybody all the time, and especially right now, is take the things that you think are amazing and pay attention to them, because those little things that you think are cool can end up in something that you make that's all your own, like a book. So I think it's cool that owls can rotate their heads 270 degrees, and I pretty much wrote an entire book with an owl as my mystery watchman because I find animals that amazing. And I would love to meet you again tomorrow afternoon at 1:30, and I'll be reading The Banana Slug Bar. So bye, everybody. Thank you for meeting. Happy reading.